I want to be happy in the kitchen. So you guys also happy in the kitchen when you guys cooking. Because if you're not happy, then, when you're cooking something, you can transfer your food. And when you're on the service time, people can feel it.
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. What is it like being given the opportunity to utilise the skills acquired over your career in combination with a deep dive into the food of your heritage? Well, today's guest is doing just that in the heart of Sydney's business district. Derek Kim is the head chef of Garaku in Sydney. Derek, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. It's good to get you on the show. You're the head chef there at Garaku. Tell us a little bit about the restaurant.
So Garaku, all about is performance. So we inspired from Garaku. So Garaku means we had the Imperial Theater from the in Japan back in the days. So there's a opening kitchen in the middle, and then customer sitting in the counter seat, and we are performance to the customer for the same as we to the Royal Emperor. So we doing the degustation menu to the modern Kaiseki meal. So yeah, that's what we're doing in Garaku.
Tell us a little bit about your food and your approach.
So I learned a lot of experience in the kitchen, but most likely Japanese cuisine. And here we Garaku, we try to follow the traditional Japanese method, but we're not just about to follow the Japanese method. We involve more like a bit more modernized, and then to make the balance. So for my food, it's not just about the flavor. It's everything about the balance, local ingredient, freshness, and then put our story as well to the connect with the customer.
Is there a couple of dishes that you can tell us about that kind of really exemplifies your cooking and what you're doing there?
Last season menu, we used to have a maroon dish. So here we all about the performance and then give the experience to the customer. So the maroon dish from the WA. So we simply grill the maroon and then using the koji butter. So make our koji shiro koji rice, and then we make the kind of herb bouquet like rosemary, thyme, tarragon, and then some flower. Make a small bouquet, and then we dip into the koji butter and brush to the maroon. So customer when doing this, and then they can have the herb flavor and then natural flavor of the koji, but also they can do some action, so they can feel all this kind of different experience. So we try to do some kind of give to the customer to experience.
Yeah. Is there another maybe two dishes that you can also tell us about that sort of talks to your food and cooking?
Yes, and also as I mentioned, we following the traditional Kaiseki method and the frame as well. So it kind of a snack course. So we call hasun. So hasun means a seasonal platter using the seasonal ingredients. So we do have 4 different snacks serving in the one tray. So there's a steam, there's a fried dish as well, and there's like a lot of snacks going on the one tray with the decoration with some flowers and then green leaves, and then different method of cooking on the one tray. And people really enjoy that tray because when people see the tray, they can feel it, oh, this is something different. So they can feel that this is Japanese.
What's it been like for you stepping into this role as head chef? Has it changed your approach to cooking and being in the kitchen?
I think it was a little bit changed because I used to work at Tetsuya. It's kind of related to what I do at the moment, but there's a concept already made, so we have to follow what we given. So I love to using cream, butter, or any like dairy stuff, cheese. I love cheese as well, but it's like traditional Japanese meal. There's not much of the dairy in it, so I need to remove some out, and I need to chasing the more pure flavor. So I think that is the hardest part. And then I think kind of study a lot. People, we opened this restaurant. Myself and then my sous chef went to the Japan to some research and study as well. And then after the year, I went back to Japan, tried the real Kaiseki as well, traditional in Kyoto. I know it's totally different what we're doing here, but some there's a connection like connection between their chef and then what we do here. I think maybe that is the differences. Mm.
Yeah. Take us on those trips to Japan that you went on. Do you have any stories of the experiences that you had that had an impact on you?
Yes. The travel was like I had some. I went to a few travels, so especially Japan. Like the the I went to the really hot summer, and then during the the trip is like brutally hot summer, and accidentally I ordered like a really hot soba instead of a cold, and then I was just sweating and then eating just eating anyway because I don't speak Japanese. I understand it a little bit, but I don't really speak Japanese. And then the owner was like a grandpa, so I was I couldn't speak English. And then somehow there's like a white couple came into the restaurant, and then the grandpa was like spoke perfect English, and then I was like, whoa. And then after that taught me something. Food is just not about the taste, you know, about the moment, like place and the memories. That I think that was one of my funny story. And then also, I used to live in Paris in 1 year, and then also same thing. Like really, uh, I don't speak French. It's hard to get a job in France because if you don't speak that language, and then you know, I got a first job. I think it took like months to get a first job, and then the financial was limited, and then I survived like €2 baguette from local bakery, and then I had it for like 2 or 3, I don't know, but 3 4 days at the time, and then I remember that the one of my the favorite space is the Hero Montmartre, and then overlooking Paris, and then chewing the dry baguette, and the memory was quite hard that time, but now it's really funny as well.
Um, I want to talk about your food and what you're doing there at Garaku shortly, but take us back to when you were young. Whereabouts did you grow up, and was food sort of important in your family?
Yes, some of my earliest food memory is I think come from my parents cooking, and they ran a butcher shop, and they were always busy. And in Korea, the shop don't close at like 5 or 6 o'clock what we do Australia. And they stay until 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And so growing up, like seeing this, I thought that is like a normal life. And then that time when I shared about this, and then people assumes I must have like eaten a lot of good meat, but the reality was the opposite. The good cuts were always like sold, and what came home was always leftover meat, like pork trimmings, bones, or beef bones, something like that. And always my mom would turn them into soup with kimchi. And sometimes she made with the beef pork bone and then lucky, then we mix with the beef bone together. And then she was so busy and she made like a giant big pot. And on the weekend, we and then myself and my brother eat it all week. And then and then on the weekend, my dad's cooking. He always cook for the lunch, but it was only one single menu because he can't really cook much. But he always cooks for lunch only kimchi fried rice and then fried eggs every single time. I still remember. But back then, I didn't really love it. But those two dishes are my absolute favorite at the moment as well. Then that's funny how that works. And and then I never seriously thought about food as a career. But I think the first time I thought about food as a career, become a chef, I think when I was in high school. It took I took some cooking class sometimes, but not like a proper training or fancy class. But one dish at the same time, one dish stayed with me is the stew with the kimchi stew. I always eat in my grandma's place, and my grandma and my mother and then me, the same dish passed down. And uh, only one memory is for grandma is that stew. And I think my grandmother's time, the things were so hard, I guess, and then the meat was almost unthinkable. So it was always like only fatty scraps. And my mom grew up eating that. Also, she cooked same thing for me, and I think that time, high school student is kind of grown up a lot as well. So I think that time I realized the food is just about the filling your stomach. Just about it's about warm and comfort. And for some, it fills the stomach. For others, it fills the heart. So that is my childhood, like a memory about the food. You know.
How does it make you feel when you have that stew?
As on the weekend, I try to cooking at home, but I never get it the same flavor. And then I usually cook at home either Japanese or some Western, Australian or some French. And then whenever I'm cooking some Korean food, my wife doesn't like it. So she always cook herself, and then she's better than me cooking Korean food. So normally I cook some steaks or some like hard to make at home. So I cooked it, but the Korean food she always cook it. But let's say my mother's birthday and my grandma, she's still alive, but like I haven't been visit her long time. So hopefully this year I visit her, and then I know she's not able to cooking some food or anything, but I need to see her.
Tell us about the early years as a chef. What were the really sort of influential restaurants and people that you worked with early on that helped you start to carve a path?
Still, I never imagined I'd become a chef. I believe the jobs that require hand skill need a natural talent, and I didn't think. Uh, I didn't think that I had it. So looking back, uh, before I came to Australia, looking back, I was a pretty naive and a simple mindset. Maybe I studied English in my college, and then if I learn English, then I can go overseas, and then if I go overseas, I can learn cooking there. And then for the early, so before I came to Australia, I went to college, study English and media, about a year and a half. And then I luckily enough to get some internship the local TV station. So because of the it's a regional, and then is a lot of the stories were about the local produce and then food festival. So even when I wasn't cooking, the food kept finding its way back into my life. So and then after the finishing my military service, and that the simple idea somehow became reality, and then I moved to Australia. But the first year of Australia life is easy. My English still struggle English, but my English was limited and money was very tight, and I couldn't rely on financial support to my family. And I think I did everything like early morning cleaning, nighttime pub cleaning, on the weekend cleaning the beach toilet, making sushi roll, working a cafe. I think so. One point I think my cleaning resume was stronger than my cooking one. I think. So as you asked me the first question, for the first real chef job was at a small Japanese restaurant in the Rocks. Now it's closed, but it called Yoshi Restaurant, owned by Chef Yoshi. Yeah, who now runs on omakase at Crown Sydney. So because it was my first kitchen, and the nerves and the mindset from that time are still vivid. And then I think that time one chef, especially one chef, remember Chef Teramoto. He's a head chef in Yoshi restaurant at that time. He always calm and constant, never rushing. I think that way of working became my standard. So even though in the creative kitchen busy, I try to calm and like never rushing, because I'm the position if I nervous or rushing, then others get same thing, they affect. And then after the Yoshi restaurant, I went to have many experience, but for I think so about 2 years I spent on Hamilton Island. That truly made me feel what life in Australia was like. And then and then I think the person who has influenced my career and the most undoubtedly was Chef Tetsuya. I'm turning this year 40, and my entire 30s were basically spent at Tetsuya restaurant. And the chefs, there's all the chefs and the front house staff. They were just colleague, They were a huge part of my life.
Take us into the kitchen and life in Tetsuya. A decade is incredible in one of Australia's most influential establishments. Do you have any stories of your time there?
Uh, I think first time I met Chef Tetsuya, and I was young and like I have ambitious as well, and honestly thought maybe one day I need to be more famous than him. You know, as Asian chef in Australia, there was really no one more globally successful than him, you know. And but even like I met him last few weeks ago, you know, in Sydney. And but over the time, I realized something different. I think I realized this time he just simply loves cooking, you know, just purely, you know. Even now, when he go to the fish market, his eyes is sparkler than mine. Seeing that, you know, seeing them made me remember why I started cooking in the first place. It's just I wasn't chasing fame, just loved being in the kitchen. And then that time when I first started, um, the head chef, his name is Kevin. He was crazy. Yeah, he was crazy. He loved to work. He is a workaholic, but he also like impressed me a lot, like how working in the kitchen as well. He taught me a lot. Now he's a really good friend, but he's one of my good friend as well. But everything is for the almost decade. It wasn't. It was all the good time, you know. During the time I met my wife, and then I got married when I was young, and then I got first child around the time when I started Tetsuya. And then back then, the fine dining was were brutal, you know. The I think minimum 14 to 15 hours a day it is normal, you know. And then as a chef, I happy working like that and I was satisfied. But as a husband or father, I was terrible, and I sacrificed my family for something I love, you know. And my wife endures. So if without my wife, I don't think I just still be here, you know. So
Yeah. How did you turn that around to get more focus on family and get that balance?
I think that time was when we had a COVID. So I also only think about only work until first birthday for my daughter, and then after a year, and then we got the COVID, and then during the lockdown, I spent like a real time with my family. I think pretty much like the first time, you know. And then I realized I miss like easy to many years with the family, you know, for my wife, and then I think I cook professionally and everything to my guest for the guests, but when I came back home, I don't really cook barely cooking, you know, for myself or my family, and I think that hits me very hard. And then the COVID lockdown period, and we heard the news from my father and my mother-in-law got a cancer, and then my wife also kind of injured from her work, and then that time was quite hard, and then it's kind of like a burnout a little bit. Mm.
What sort of impact, positive impact, has it had on you, this change? Has it made you see, is it your cooking changed as well as a result?
I think it changed a lot. So after the lockdown, I was always like chasing the my juniors or myself. I push myself as well. Very strict my when I was working in the kitchen. But after the lockdown, when I returned to the kitchen, my mindset has changed. You know, I no longer wanted to kitchen driven to like fear or like a headache or like a kind of the environment. I just wanted to protect standard, but still creative and happier and freer environment. And I was incredibly grateful when uh, when Chef Tetsuya gave me an opportunity to be a final head chef people of the restaurant, people closing. So that time, like I was like really happy cooking in the kitchen, And then those 3 months after he announced we closing Tetsuya, last 3 months was very intense. It didn't, and I didn't want it to like ruin the final chapter of 37 years legacy and the reputation as well. Like, and then I think the last service sending out the final plate and looking around everyone in the kitchen, chef, front house, or even the kitchen and that moment, like I will never forget. I don't think I will never have experienced anything like this again. I really make make a word like how I feel it, but that the feeling is like amazing.
How does it feel knowing that you've been a big part of one of Australia's most important restaurants?
I think first of all, very honored to be one of the part of that the big restaurant. Also, I truly like a respect to Chef Tetsuya, and I'm really happy. And he gave me the opportunity to be part of the restaurant. I'm really grateful and really appreciate it. So even though I met him last like 3 weeks ago, always I tell the same thing. Oh, thank you for giving me a chance to the last time. And he's just like very nice person.
What was it like for you taking on the head chef role at Garaku? Was it a different kind of pressure to what you had at Tetsuya's?
It was different. So Tetsuya over the 37 years, there is already have the standard good system, you know, and I just making keep the working. But the Garaku is a new restaurant. I'm the head chef. There's nothing when I joined first time this restaurant. There's nothing. There's just finished on the construction. There's no tableware or equipment or even the menu. There was nothing. Luckily, I had a good team, and then my sous chef, pastry chef, we moved to the same restaurant here, and luckily we successfully launching the menu. But it was like hard. It's kind of different concept. Also, it's my first time working at front of guests because it is an open kitchen. Like for my personality, I don't really accept a single mistake from the guest, and I really don't speak loudly as either. Because people can hear and then people can feel it. If you are nervous and if you make a mistake. But I don't want to show them about this. But this is that thing is a kind of show as well. If you made a mistake, I just say sorry to everyone. The funny thing is this building has this is a heritage building, and then there is the little bit sensitive about the fire alarm attack. And then one of level 2 is I think it's some failure or some like a not working properly, and then it keeps turn to the fire alarm. There's nothing smoke and anything. It just like always like turning sometimes. And then firefighter came as well. And then there's one guest. She is always came as a single diner, and then but she came when we changed the menu. So we changed the seasonal menu 4 times a year. So spring, summer, autumn, winter. she came all the time. So whenever she came to the restaurant, the fire alarm was on. That was so funny. And then she was laughing, well, why always I'm here and the fire alarm is on? And first time when we heard kind of this and then we are nervous and oh, what should we do? But now it's like, oh, sorry guys, this is a part of the show. We just make the joke like this.
I know the restaurant is modeled on a traditional Japanese kaiseki, but do you sort of get some of your Korean heritage into the menu as well?
I think not the appeal about the Korean food, but I think flavor maybe into the food as well. Because I think Korean food and Japanese food is very different, but somehow kind of similar thing as well. Let's say seasoning wise, we're using a lot of soy sauce as well, and using a lot of miso as well. So some Korean guests came to the restaurant. They say, oh, they didn't like a traditional or omakase style of dining because they understand it's a fresh ingredient, but they say a little bit too fishy or something like that. But they can feel it only the taste or some dishes, some kind of Korean food. Because I'm the Korean, maybe when I season or when I'm making something, it naturally is just onto the dish, I think.
Yeah.
We trying to keep the as a Japanese cuisine. This is what we learn from Chef Tetsuya as well, from my career, and then other teams as well.
Well, it's amazing what you're doing there. What do you love about what you do?
Before, I'm quite nervous and I'm not used to kind of this environment, working the open kitchen. But now I kind of a little bit enjoyed it because, directly you can see when people had a first bite and then if they smile or when I explain the dish, if they listen and then respect to me, then I got a confidence and I go talk with the guest. And then that is kind of, I give the experience to the guest as well, but guests also give me an experience as well. I think that is quite unique experience as well. And just like I always tell my team, we had a standard, but I don't want like a really strict or really hard environment. I want to be happy in the kitchen. So you guys also happy in the kitchen when you guys cooking. Because if you're not happy, then, when you're cooking something, you can transfer your food. And when you on the service time, people can feel it, So I'm always telling my team, say, I'll be positive and try to be happy, no complain. I know it's, things always different what you imagine. And then also the company or anything, your life is get harder. But when you're in the kitchen, maybe we help each other and, you're working as a team player. It doesn't matter if it's a head chef or apprentice or kitchen. Just working as team player, then I think we are the one making the environment make you happy. So I think that is important, and that is I like it. I love it.
Well, Derek, it's been an absolute joy to have you on the show today. Please keep in touch, and we'll catch up again soon.
Thank you so much for having me today, and that was incredibly kind of nervous, but really incredibly experience.
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. Stay tuned as we take a deep dive into the lives of the incredible people who ply their trade in the food and hospitality sector. Special thanks to executive producer Rob Locke for making this all happen. Follow us on Instagram at Deep in the Weeds Podcast or email us at podcast@deepintheweeds.com.au. thanks to executive producer Rob Locke for making this all happen. Stay safe and be well.